Hi everybody, this is Gwen and welcome to At Home with Gigi. I'm so happy to be back. I feel like I've been away for forever. And if you are returning to my channel, thank you so much for coming back. I know I've been away for a while, but I think I explained in the last video or so that I was going to have to move, and it just took forever to get everything organized and for me to be able to start making videos again. So I appreciate your patience. But guys, that's enough about that. Let's get started with this video. For this DIY, we're going to use 2 margarita glasses from the Dollar Tree and this flat black spray paint from Walmart, and I just gave them 2 good coats. And then I'm just going to use this twine that also came from the Dollar Tree, and we're going for a pretty farmhouse look. And I want these margarita glasses, and you'll see at the end because I've got some hurricanes that I picked up from the thrift store, and I want to recreate those old-fashioned oil lamps that your grandma had when you were a kid. But mine always had them everywhere. But I'm just starting with hot gluing the twine, and then I'm just going to wind that twine all the way up the stem of my margarita glass. And as you can see, I didn't put quite enough glue, so I'm having to go back and add a little bit more. I am just so happy to be able to start making videos again and get back to my crafting. I have missed it so much. Life has just been so hectic lately, and I'm just excited. I'm going to start uploading my videos every Thursday. It'll go up at 7 a.m. So I hope you'll make sure that you set a reminder or hit that little notification bell, because I would love to have you back here with me. And I just made sure whenever I'm adding the hot glue, I'm keeping it all on one side. That way you can have a back, so to speak, for your candle, and that way it doesn't, the hot glue, if it comes through, doesn't show. But my little Sure Bonder glue gun, it has that detailing tip on the end of it, and it is just absolutely perfect for this type of job, because you put just the right amount of glue right where you want it.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights.
I'm just going to use scissors to trim off all the little hairs, but if you use a lighter, you go right ahead, but I wouldn't need a fire extinguisher if I did that. Then I'm just going to fold over this beautiful ribbon that came from Amazon, and it comes in a double pack, and I will link that down below. But I just love this, and I'm just tying the same twine that I used on the stem just around the center of the bow, and just a couple of knots to hold it in place. And then I'm just going to do the exact same thing to tie it onto the stem of the margarita glass. And just tie it real tight so it doesn't slip up and down. Also, make sure that you dovetail the ends of your ribbon, guys, just to give it that cute finished look. Then all you have to do is just go in and just fluff out your little bow and make it all cute and pretty. And this was just so easy. This candlestick would also be perfect to use at Halloween. You could just switch out the bow for some orange, purple, or green type ribbon, and do the same actually for the holidays that's coming up. I originally was going to use these battery-operated candles that came from Amazon. I've had these 2 or 3 years. If I can find something similar, guys, I'll link them down below. And I left this in because I wanted you to see what they look like, because they really are cute. Maybe if they were shorter, they might work, but I really prefer the tea lights that I have in here. And these are real tea lights. And I thought it was just so pretty, and it gives it such an authentic old-fashioned oil lamp, you know, the kind that your grandma had when you were a little kid. And I found these little orange battery-operated tea light candles at the Dollar Tree, and I thought they were just as cute, especially for this time of year. Y'all, this is just a quick, easy little DIY that you can take these crazy orange pumpkins from the Dollar Tree and make something really cute out of them.
Even if the sky is falling
And I'm just going to take and start with giving them 2 coats of Waverly White chalk paint because I want to cover up all of that orange. And to help me hold on to it, I just removed the stem and I just stick up one of those little bamboo skewers that you can pick up at the Dollar Tree. I think it's like a pack of 20. And that really helps you hold on to your pumpkin. Now I'm going to be covering my pumpkins with bandanas that came from, I believe it was Hobby Lobby. I got them for 99 cents and I picked up several different colors because you cannot beat it. You'll see in just a second how large they are. And if you're using smaller pumpkins, you could probably cover 2 or 3 pumpkins with these bandanas. And another little quick tip, use a piece of floral foam just to stick that skewer in there and it'll hold your pumpkins in place while they're drying. Now, if you're going to be using a darker piece of fabric, you probably wouldn't need to paint your pumpkins, but like I said, mine is going to be black and white check, and I want to make sure none of that orange is going to show through. And this is what I mean by how large these bandanas are, and like I said, I got them in all different colors. And I'm just kind of measuring out my fabric here because it is really too much fabric. You could stuff all of that into your pumpkin if you wanted, but I didn't want to, so I'm just going to cut off the edges. And as you can see, I cut out a little bit more of the center there just to give me enough room to stuff my fabric down inside. And really there's no rhyme or reason. You just keep pulling up your fabric and get it to the angle that you want and then just stuff it down inside of your pumpkin. Might have to play with it a little bit just to see how you want it to lay, but I mean really you just keep pulling it up and just kind of hold it tight and just push it down in there. For the stem, I'm just going to use these little wooden pieces that came from the Dollar Tree. Now, I have not been able to find those this year, so I just used what I had left from last year. But here you can use anything that you want for a stem. You can add leaves to it, ribbon, whatever you want, but I think they are just cute as they are. And I just added them to one of these little metal pans that I picked up at Hobby Lobby at the end of the summer whenever they were clearancing out all their spring and summer items. And added a few little pumpkins from the Dollar Tree and some lamb's ear, and I think this is just so pretty. This would be perfect to go in the center of your dining room table or your coffee table, and it's just very easy to put together. We're going to be using these 4 wooden pumpkins from the Dollar Tree, some scrapbook paper, and we're going to use Waverly chalk paint in white and ink for this project. And I just sanded off the back of these where they have the stickers in. As you can see on the one laying down on the table, they're a little bit hard to get off, but I just used my sanding block and got off as much as I could. And I also sanded off as much as I could of the glitter that's on the front of these pumpkins. But I'm just going to paint them front and back just to give them a nice finished appearance. The pumpkins that I'm painting white, I did give them 2 coats because I'm still working on finishing up that last little bit of my white chalk paint, and it's really thick, so I use a little bit of water to thin it out. And this batch I thinned out a little too much, but with the black or ink Waverly chalk paint, I only needed 1 coat. And as you can see, the 1 coat completely covers the writing that's on these pumpkins. Just make sure that you sand off the glitter, or else you're going to have glitter all over your pumpkins as you're painting them. I'm only going to be using the scrapbook paper on the white pumpkins, and I'm just trying to figure out my placement. I know that I want those beautiful black and white check pumpkins in the center of them, so after figuring out my placement, I'm just going to trace around the wooden pumpkin just to make sure that I get everything just right and centered. I'm also trying to get as close to the pumpkin as I can because I don't want to have to use my sanding block and mess up my white paint. I'm not really going for the distressed look on these pumpkins.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know if I will ever figure out where the road.
I'm going to be using Mod Podge to attach my scrapbook paper. That's just my preference, but you can always use glue sticks or the spray adhesive that you find at the Dollar Tree. But whenever I'm using scrapbook paper, I find that Mod Podge works best for me because scrapbook paper is very, very forgiving and you get very few wrinkles. But I'm just making sure I'm lining my scrapbook paper up really well along the edges of the pumpkin and then just smoothing it out to, if there's any excess Mod Podge under there, it'll squeeze out along the sides and then just wipe it away. And also it helps to get out any wrinkles and air bubbles that's under there. Because I wanted orange letters to go on the front of my pumpkins and I couldn't find any, I just mixed up some paint and decided to paint these letters that came from the Dollar Tree. And I mixed the Waverly pumpkin and white together, and this is the color that came out, and it's not exactly what I wanted. I bought a pumpkin from Walmart and it was more of a peachy pinky color, so I just added in some of the acrylic pink blush, and this is the color that I got, and I thought it was so pretty. I let my letters dry completely and then I just very gently pulled them loose and pulled them up off the sticky paper. And then I'm just going to line them up in the center of my pumpkins. And as you can see here, guys, the stems of my pumpkins, I wrapped them with twine, and I lost the footage to that somehow during this move, and I have no idea what happened. But I just used the twine that came from the Dollar Tree and just put a little bit of hot glue at the base of the stem and then just wrapped it all the way up to the top and went just a little bit above the top of the stem where I could tuck the end of the twine back down in it. As you can see here, I'm just lining up my letters, and then I'm going to use Mod Podge to make them adhere to the pumpkins. And this one, on the first one, I used the Mod Podge up under my F, and when I went back to put a layer of Mod Podge over it, my F started sliding around, so I just kind of lined it back up and left it, let it dry a little bit. Now I'm going back over it and just putting a layer of Mod Podge over the entire front of the pumpkin, and just making sure that it's nice and even. And then I just did that all the way across for all of the pumpkins and just let it dry completely, and then I went back in and put a second coat on top. I'm showing you the ribbon lace from the Dollar Tree and then the little black and white buffalo check ribbon from Hobby Lobby, but I ended up only using the little lace ribbon, and I'm just going to cut off a strip and just fold it over and use a piece of that twine and just tie it right in the center and just make a sweet little quick bow.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know if I will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down.
I am just so excited with how these turned out. Do you ever just have something that when it turns out so perfectly and just as you envisioned it, and then you're just so excited? Because sometimes your crafts, no matter how hard you try, they just don't quite get there. I just love these, and I think they are just beautiful. This is my first year using the more neutral tones in my fall decorating. Usually I use the really bright, vibrant colors, and I'm still going to do that this year, but I am definitely going to be working these pieces into the rest of my collection, and I am just excited with these. And the pumpkin back there was my inspiration for the color of the word fall. So let me know, guys, did I get close to that color? Did I recreate it? Comment down below and let me know. If you are a returning subscriber, just thank you so very much for sticking around and coming back. I know I was gone for a little while, but the move is over with and I finally got everything settled. I'm going to start uploading every Thursday at 7 a.m. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button and the little bell that will notify you. And I will see you next time.